Hello, hello. It's me. It's Bree, your big sister, your friend, your favorite Filipino. And today, I want to get a little bit personal. I want to talk about my experiences and journey of dealing with physical insecurities. And to be honest, I never really watched anyone's videos talking about this topic because I didn't want to, because I wanted to avoid getting triggered if I was in a moment of feeling insecure. So, I'm going to share some experiences, some moments that I had where I went through it, I figured it out, I went through it again, and then I had two main breakthroughs. Up until this day, I can't say just yet that I've completely erased that doubt of mine, but I can definitely say it's so much better. If you relate to any of these, comment down below. And if you had the opportunity to figure out and it was completely different to how I did, I'm interested. And maybe your thoughts, your experiences could help the next person. So honestly, where it all begun, I don't remember. I don't. But one thing is for sure that being Filipino, being Asian was part of it. The cultural side, I wouldn't even say traditions, but it's just what your family says to you and makes you question as a child. And then you bring it into your teenage years and you still do it. And then you question it like, why do I have to do this? Oh, it's because you have a big nose. Big. But let me get into it. That's one of them. Like, I remember as a kid in primary school, to be specific, my grandma would always tell me to pinch my nose. And I remember that I would be in the car on the way to school and she's like, pinch your nose. And I pinch my nose. She probably pinched my nose. And she didn't tell me, well, maybe she told me why. I have a lot of features carried from my dad's DNA. So I look like my dad. They never said it was an issue, but I'm pretty sure that's what they were obviously implying when they told me and showed me to do that to myself. And thinking about that as an adult, that's fucked up. Other influences from family, things outside of me, is words such as like chubby floating around, fat. You don't even have to be Asian for this, literally anyone, but you go to a party and then, family members question you about your weight. And I never asked my mom, like, why would they ask that or anything. I guess I kind of took it because I didn't fully understand, like, oh, you just call me fat. That's just an experience. There was no really like figuring it out in that point. I just also realized that that was pretty messed up for them to ask me that, to tell me that. First of all, following that experience, that carried me into high school. And I suppose I didn't enjoy the way I looked. And let me shout out to the women who only recently stopped becoming filter warriors. If you're a filter warrior in 2026, stop yourself. In high school, I always carried around like doubt in my mind about my physical insecurities, specifically of, I guess, how chubby I felt, and obviously my acne. I didn't have acne, but I had a lot of pimples and a lot of texture in my face. The solution to that was I learned skincare by myself. That was a good journey to have. I learned so much by myself, and things didn't work, things did work. And now I have a whole skincare Bible because I have done so much research about my own skin, and I've been able to recommend things and advice to friends now because I can use my past experiences. And that's one of the great things that came from figuring out. So that one was a win. When I started talking to boys, talking to men, and I got into my first relationship, something that I vividly remember in regards to this topic is that I was always referred to being cute. Yeah, unconsciously, I accepted it because you hear it all the time and you just start to just believe that's all you are, but you're not. But that's what happened. And that really fucked up the way I thought about myself. So I never considered even the word beautiful to me, because even though my family, even like my dad and stuff would call me beautiful growing up. I don't think I ever like it just went like in one ear out through the other. And I can probably admit that when I was in, speaking to men and stuff, mostly on the internet, there was part of me that was seeking validation. I don't even remember that part of me, but I can probably admit that that probably happened. And obviously, I don't blame my boyfriend at the time back then, because it was also because of all the other past experiences. It just added to pretty much confirming that that's all I thought I was. And that is such a limiting and unfortunate mindset that I had to go through, because you are not just one thing. Like I said, the only reason I accepted that in my mind is because so many people had told me that. Knowing that I had self doubt, I didn't believe in the first place that I was anything, really. This is something that I picked up recently. If you don't stand for anything, you're going to believe anything. Clock that. I like using the example of, for people who were shy or considered themselves shy in the past, you were never shy to begin with, because no one taught you how to speak up. No one allowed you to speak your mind. You thought that was people denying you the experience of speaking up. And so you took that personally and you just became the quiet one. You didn't want to speak up anymore. You didn't want to try anymore. And that is fair. But that's also not true. The solution to that issue came years later. And we'll get into that. So, one of the first groundbreaking experiences that I had was in university. I still carried doubt. I did believe that I was cute and pretty. This was out of that relationship now. I don't even know if someone even suggested to try this. It probably did. But one night I just sat myself in front of my mirror, and the idea was to just look at myself in silence. And you know what happened? I started bawling my eyes out, because when I was looking at myself, when I was just feeling on my skin, it felt like I was looking at myself for the first time ever. I felt genuinely shocked. Like I've never seen myself before. I take all these photos, videos, I'm looking at my mirror every day, but it's always just like I'm there to do something and then I leave. I never intentionally just like stare at myself. Or maybe if I stare at myself on my phone, I get too nervous, too insecure that I just look away. But this time I sat myself down and I intentionally stared right into my eyes and looked at every single crevice and corner and curve of my arms and my face, everything I didn't like, everything I did like, I looked at that and I cried. That was such an intimate moment. I felt like my heart broke a bit in a way. Maybe because maybe I didn't look after myself, maybe I just thought that, but was I really looking after myself? I never even looked at myself like this for so many years. It didn't fix myself, my mindset at the time, but it was really eye-opening. At the same time, I remember I was introduced to the idea of affirmations, and I had been suggested to, do these affirmations in the mirror. And let me tell you, it was so hard. It was hard because like I felt like I was choking. You had to say these things. You had to affirm that, are taking care of yourself. You love yourself and you look good today. You look beautiful. You look pretty. You look cute. You look sexy. And it makes me feel choked up because one, I've never said that to myself. Two, obviously there is resistance in the body because in my mind, I don't believe that. My current beliefs at the time, it didn't accept those because we thought otherwise. Like even more context is that I always struggled with vulnerability with myself. I'm pretty sure that experience happened before therapy. And pretty much I just had the issue of expressing myself verbally, how I felt, what was going on. I feel like nobody knew that I was going through physical insecurities. It was only me, and I only kept it to myself because Again, as the same reason for other things I didn't speak up about. Why should you know? Well, obviously, I feel like maybe my partner at the time knew, obviously, but outside of that, nobody knew that about me. And I feel like it's not too obvious that people would assume that I would have that or would be dealing with that issue, but I was. And again, up until this day, time to time, very rarely though, I still do. You really have to remember when these thoughts do come up. It's just the brain, it's the thoughts just being uncomfortable with finally hearing something that is actually true, coming from a place of you wanting to love yourself more so you can enjoy looking in the mirror, enjoy looking at photos, or if not, just feel okay inside. Following those experiences, I then started to go clubbing. Even though I still had those insecurities, girl, I would be wearing my crop tops. I would be letting my stomach out because I was that same person who wanted to wear cute stuff. And sometimes when it was one of those like tight shirts and shit, I would be doing like one of these to like stretch it out. Oh my God. And that was out of a place of insecurity of my stomach. To be very specific, I had insecurities more so about my face and I suppose my chubbiness. When I was introduced to those worlds, I used the concept of dancing in my room to really embrace sensuality. Sensuality, if you didn't know, is not nothing sexual. It really is getting in touch with your five senses. I was so stiff when it came to dancing, and practicing that in my room really allowed me to become unstiff when it came to dancing in public. Dance is still a thing that I'm working on. So at the same time, that's when I learned how to twerk. That's my party trick. I'm shy though. I'm shy. Don't get me wrong. I can throw it on the floor. I can throw it right here. I'm I'm okay at doing circles and shit. I could do it like side to side, up and down though. I can't say I got you because I got a man. And it really was the first pure experience of really moving my body. I did gym, but I've never experienced getting in touch with my body like how I felt when I was doing no, sorry, when I was doing dance. The next thing that I had explored was meditation. To be specific, I was introduced to body scans. The way I would describe meditation is that it really teaches you to pause. Even a few minutes, no, not even minutes, but a few seconds for you to quiet your brain. And body scans has taught me how to practice awareness, that's one thing, but also getting in touch with my body, sensing if there is heaviness or pain, whether that is like physical or spiritual, mental. I also, at the time, was really continuing to do my affirmations during my meditation, or I would finish off the meditation with affirmation. So I was also practicing verbally to say nice things about myself. My second breakthrough was that I finally accepted and allowed myself to say and feel and be beautiful. And this experience was brought to me from my boyfriend. It wasn't no me asking for validation or him just like love bombing, but he just always called me beautiful. And no other men that I had experienced had treated me like that. He was calling me beautiful so freaking often, and it just blew my mind. He never called me like cute often. He never called me pretty often, sexy often. He chose the word beautiful and slowly altering my brain. And that really made me start to believe it. Because again, it was still difficult for me to even say that to myself, to affirm that to myself. So, of course, the guy that I'm crushing on, and he's obviously crushing on me, is calling me that. It not only affirms to me. It also confirms to me that I am that. He always said to me, I wish you could see how I see you through my eyes. And that was so sweet. Fast forward, in combination of continuing to say affirmations with me, continuing to speak up just in general about other vulnerable things, meditations, quieting my mind, all of those combined. And then I meet this man who presented me the opportunity to really embrace my beauty. I tell this to a lot of people. The way I would describe my love for him is that I am not attached to him. He has poured into me, he has given into me to the point where I love him so much that if he chose to leave, I would let him go because I know that I would still be whole without him. Him as my partner, as someone I love, he is just an addition to my life. My life does not depend on him. I don't rely on him. I don't need him to provide me and to always remind me, always remind me that I am certain things, because I know first that I am everything and anything without him all at the same time. He is just there as a beautiful and friendly reminder that I'm so grateful for him to be able to be here to support me and love me. I'm just so thankful for him to be able to show me how much more that I deserve to be loved and how much more there is to me. Everything else that I've been missing. It was one of those moments where someone else had to show me and tell me that I was beautiful before I saw it in myself. But I'm still so thankful that he was the one who introduced me to that, because everything is a matter of remembering, and how I had just simply forgot about that part of myself. But hey, in order to find yourself, you must lose yourself first. Shout out you, Kyra XVI. To finish off this video, I want to talk about like a crazy moment that I had where I caught myself being in resistance to my body changing because it was so unfamiliar. And in my journal, I had written out that I wanted to lose weight because I needed to for my health, for like a liver thing, even just a couple kilos, right? And I've been doing daily walks and doing low impact activities. I had a moment where I was questioning everything I was doing, like all these physical activities. And I was so conflicted on why I was thinking this way, because it's for my health. Like I need it for my body to like thrive. But a part of me was just thinking so negatively, and it was trying to make me lazy again. And it was so weird. It was so freaking weird. And then I had realized that that was just the thoughts that were still lingering in my head, that didn't want to do all those things because she was comfortable living a life that stayed at, essentially, I don't know, a weight she was. I'm not saying that being at a certain weight I carry certain beliefs, because no, like this is good for me, but there's resistance in my body, and I called myself out on that. Caught that. Caught you in 4K. I caught that in 4K. Bro, what the hell? The old me was uncomfortable to see that my body is slowly changing, and it was doing everything to reawaken itself and like trigger the other part of me that was on a path of being more healthy, wanting to move. I was like, wow, I really changed. I really did. And I'm so proud that I was able to catch that. It was definitely like I was fighting with it for a couple days because I'm like, what am I doing? Like I've made huge progress compared to where I was in high school, and I'm very proud. I'm a woman. I feel like there's so much to talk about this topic, but today I'm just focusing on just sharing my experiences. You could use these methods, these permission slips, to try and embrace yourself some more, see yourself some more. Because validation externally can only help you so far. You will hit a point where you might just be begging for it. Beauty is so much more than like physically. Beauty is really within. How to validate yourself. Feel the experience of validation within you by knowing that whatever happens and no matter how it looks, it must serve you in a positive way. This allows one to move forward and pass through the experience, to allow you to reveal all things you need to know, to integrate these energies as they come up, to amplify yourself. When you amplify yourself, you will allow yourself to feel the ease with which you can move through life as life moves through you. Everything is a moment and everything is temporary. Little outfit change. Girl, the sun was going down. My phone was full of storage. And by the time I fixed everything, there was no lighting in my room. Ugh, it'd be like that. You are the one who gets to accept what is true and not. And you have to remember truth feels light. The heaviness that I felt carrying all this doubt of seeing my physical appearance as unworthy, almost unloved, was so burdening to myself because it wasn't true. Whatever is true to you weighs nothing. For some instances, things might feel a bit weird because it's just simply unfamiliar. Maybe you just haven't been exposed to thinking and believing that you are a pretty ass girl. But it's also important for you to really look into who taught you that. Where did this belief really begin? Because you'll find out that you were just under some type of influence online, in person, through family, through friends, in high school, and now you're a grown adult, still thinking, still carrying the like all that emotional baggage that wasn't yours to begin with. You will not be ready for anything. So it's important to just take initiative when you do have even just a little bit of capacity to do so, because that will change everything. And waiting on someone to just break that reality, I was lucky. I just stumbled across someone who further opened my mind. But in the first instance, in that first breakthrough that I mentioned, that was all me. That's all I have to say today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you took some insight. If you have any personal experiences, feel free to share them. My channel is very open to vulnerability, as I am with you. But yeah, I guess I will see you guys next time. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.
Be glad the trees